Hello and welcome to Teched Out, the Bay Area's #1 technological entertainment podcast on the internet. My name is Giovanni Arroyo Camberos and I will be your host for this episode. Today we'll be talking about something all of us enjoy, music. Music has been around with us for centuries and has changed forms many times. However, the technology behind music as we listen to it has evolved so much over the past 30 years, from cassette tapes to music streaming programs like Spotify and iTunes. But first things first, a short history lesson. For the longest time, music has been an essential part of American culture. Even when we were children, listening to the Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees on classic cassette tapes, the sound of music to our ears was a huge part of our upbringing. If you unfortunately do not remember these beauties, cassette tapes were those mini VHS-looking things initially produced in 1958 by a little record subsidiary of Sony Entertainment called Radio Corporation of America, or better known as RCA. In 1963, the first compact cassette tape was released initially for dictation and voice recording, but soon became used for music in stereo format. Though nothing like the streaming tech we have nowadays, it was an era of developing better audio recording products as well as the era of the Sony Walkman, the introduction of truly portable music. Then the compact disc happened. 1974 brought about a project from renowned company Philips to develop an audio disc with superior sound than its vinyl cousin. Soon after, the compact disc was being built along the compact disc players, courtesy of the same company. Sony also worked on the same concept and later partnered up with Philips for the official launch of the CD in 1982. There was much skepticism with this new method of listening to audio, as is the case with most new technological innovations, but the skeptics did not hold the music industry back as it entered the modern era with the popularity of the compact disc and the quick descent of the cassette tape reign. Since the debut of the first commercially released CD album by Billy Joel in the form of his sixth studio album 52nd Street on October 1st, 1982, the shiny little 12cm disc held strong through the more tech innovations over the span of more than 3 decades. In the midst of the CD dominance in the music world, computers developed into technology with ever-expanding amounts of storage. Along with the expanding amount of storage, emerged the announcements of iPods, MP3 players, and the rise of iTunes, as well as the continued rise of its developer, Apple. iTunes, the famous land of MP3 song selection for 99 cents a piece, debuted in 2001 with its trusty companion, the iPod. iTunes, however, did not include its ever-expanding music store with the initial release. This came a couple years after the peer-to-peer free music sharing service Napster debuted and subsequently got shut down and went bankrupt due to lawsuits from Metallica, Dr. Dre, and the Recording Industry Association of America. The iPod absolutely wrecked, in a positive way, more or less, the market for any other competitor who came just months before or years after this initial 5 GB of storage white mini brick, which held up to 1,000 songs. The price tag? $400. While the iPod skyrocketed in popularity with consumers purchasing CDs and putting them on their computers and portable MP3 players, Napster was quickly replaced with MusicNet, which required users to pay a monthly subscription fee of $9.95 for access to approximately 1 million licensed songs. The site did not become as popular as it planned and faded out, especially when iTunes 4 was released and the iTunes Music Store came with it in 2003. 1 year later, one of the most currently popular web music streaming sites was launched, Pandora. Using algorithms and a song sorting program to develop personalized radio stations, this streaming site claimed to be the biggest early music streaming service. Pandora, like many other initially free streaming sites, has definitely been no stranger to struggles with royalties since its debut, but that hasn't stopped its huge popularity for personal use and use at house parties. Right around the 30th anniversary of the first CD album release, one of the most recently controversial streaming applications launched in the United States in 2011, Spotify. The Swedish streaming company debuted in the US with a decrease of piracy and a happy music industry. Unfortunately, the happiness didn't last due to a smaller than preferred royalty checks being paid to musicians, which resulted in diminishing support. Mega hit artists like Taylor Swift and Radiohead began pulling their music from the streaming service. Streaming services of all kinds keep popping up, from Google Play Music to Jay-Z and Beyoncé's fairly unknown service called Tidal, both of which guarantee artists with better profits than competitor Spotify. Google Play Music has promised greater royalty rates for artists, but has not surpassed Spotify and Pandora. Meanwhile, new service Tidal, with a currently limited quantity of music, promises being very artist-friendly with an exclusive subscription-based service with a high-quality audio and exclusive content, according to bitofnews.com. That leads us to today. Over the past 30-something years and multitudes of revolutionary music tech developments, the music industry has nowhere but to go up. As long as the streaming services do not end up with too many lawsuits with the industry and artists, to get a happy medium ground between the services and the industry is a difficult road, but is eventually possible.
What could the music streaming hype ultimately mean for the music? Different reports state different numbers. In a recent report by Fortune magazine, the Copyright Royalty Board set new rates for streaming music in 2016, generally increasing the revenue of artists via this platform. Although this means the music industry will continue to make millions of dollars, sometimes it's still not enough to make everyone happy. One company who primarily deals with licensing and royalties regarding music streaming is SoundExchange, and they are not entirely happy with the current increase in royalties. Within the past 5 years, this company has filed underpayment suits against brands like SiriusXM and Muzak. Without getting too much into legal terms and technicalities, companies like SoundExchange are suing using the Copyright Act. More specifically, the official complaint against SiriusXM states the Copyright Act requires licenses to pay royalties for the use of copyright owners' valuable original content. For a fun little factoid, let's look at the 2013 hit Wake Me Up, which is more often than not announced as Avicii's Wake Me Up. The man behind the vocals, however, is Aloe Blacc, co-writer of this song that skyrocketed to the top of the charts in the summer of 2013. In an article from Wired magazine, Blacc stated regarding Pandora's royalties, it takes roughly 1 million spins on Pandora for a songwriter to earn $90. In return for co-writing a major hit song, I have earned less than $4,000 domestically from the largest digital music service. The music industry has too large of a basis to seemingly dissolve. However, the future of the music streaming companies in combination with the main industry is absolutely in question. The ever-existing popularity of streaming services could mean quite an array of results for musicians and artists. Currently, nothing is certain. Will the music industry break under the weight of the music streaming services? It seems only time will tell. This is Giovanni Arroyo Camberos, and this has been Teched Out. Please tune in next week when Carrie Ann Sudico will be discussing the evolution of technology and video games.